Let's look at how you can use AWWA standards. First of all, standards are a great source of information.
If we have a material or an item that we're not familiar with, and there is a standard that exists for it, we go to the standard as a reference and a spot for a quick education.
AWWA standards are used extensively by all facets of the drinking water community. For example, standards provide manufacturers with some essential market research.
We really prefer standards as a manufacturer because it tells us to what degree of purity we have to manufacture a particular compound or chemical for the industry. It tells us what the industry would like, and this is primarily what we're there for, is supplying a product that the industry wants.
Regulators also tap AWWA standards for vital information.
We will set out minimum criteria and regulations for certain products that's used in water systems. And commonly, we will refer to AWWA standards or equivalent in those regulations. In our design requirements, we often refer to AWWA standards as a baseline for the quality of the product that's allowed to be installed.
AWWA standards are also an asset for drinking water consultants.
The standards are used repeatedly in conveying the quality of materials that we want installed on a particular job. So, they go right along hand in hand with the specifications.
AWWA standards are also wonderful tools for drinking water utilities. These standards contain the collective knowledge of experienced and talented professionals. That's a great resource for the manager of a small utility.
They're, one person in a small utility trying to do everything. He knows that if I use this standard, he can sleep at night to say a collective body has put this together, and surely I wouldn't have the time to put this together myself. And I know it works.
AWWA standards are just as important to large drinking water operations.
There's a standard for valves, there's a standard for chemicals, there's a standard for pumps, and they can just go to that standard and say, I know I need a gate valve or a ball valve, I know I need a metering pump, or I need chlorine or one of the other chemicals for a specific application, and therefore they can pull that standard off the wall and say, this is the standard that I want in the specification.
We use standards as the minimum baseline for purchasing materials for the utility that I work for. And we also use those standards to develop a more detailed specification.
Utilities, consultants, regulators, and manufacturers all rely on American Water Works Association standards.
It's important to have a trusted source for these standards.
All AWWA standards are researched, developed, and written by volunteers. These dedicated professionals provide an exceptional service.
I owe a lot of my success in my life to this association because every time I participated, I learned something. And when we deal with standards that allow us to make investments for the public and yet keep the cost of their public health requirements for water at a reasonable cost, there's a real satisfaction that takes place there.
AWWA standards are respected worldwide.
You actually see the work that was done on the standard actually being implemented in a country that's underdeveloped or not as fortunate as North America has been. And it's very gratifying to know that, hey, I had a part of that and it's over there, it's being used.
AWWA standards provide vital information and guidelines, and they help water providers do their job.
I personally get a lot of satisfaction out of actually seeing a finished product, a finished standard completed, published, and out the door, and knowing that that's a product that's going to be used, and it'll maintain and enhance the quality of the waterworks industry.
We serve public health. That's the service we provide. And there's a great satisfaction in knowing that your neighbor, the grandma, can give the grandchild a drink of water and she's not worried because of your efforts.
And there's a lot of self-satisfaction in that.
Standards are invaluable tools. They help save precious time and money. More importantly, AWWA standards help water professionals provide safe, clean drinking water. We hope this gives you a better understanding of how AWWA standards are developed and used in the drinking water profession.